Hello and greetings. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Today, September 11th, 2025. And it's hard not to remember September 11th from 2001, which was quite a day. I'll never forget it. I was in California in the Bay Area. And I remember it was, 6 o'clock in the morning. And my roommate, one of my roommates, I lived in this big house in San Jose, California. And I remember my roommate screaming, and, she and her boyfriend lived together in the it was not a room. They had like their own separate almost house, actually. It was sort of an add-on to the house that was for, a relative to be able to live kind of semi-separately. So they had like a kitchenette and everything. And so they pretty much stayed in there. But I heard her screaming and hollering, and that was not always that odd. So I didn't think a whole lot of it other than that she was disturbing me at 6 o'clock in the morning. But then I started hearing her talking about, her verbalizing, it's all, we're being attacked and this and that. And I thought, okay, this sounds different. So I opened my door and I could see CNN on in their room. And that's when I first remember realizing that the world was never going to be the same again for us. That this was one of those events, that there was the before times and the after times. And shortly after that, going to the airport in San Jose and seeing military officers with machine guns in the U.S. in an airport. And that was shocking to me. I remember traveling in years prior to other countries where machine guns and uniformed military on the streets are sort of more common. But until then, I wasn't used to seeing that at all in this country. And unfortunately, it's being normalized even more. But that's another topic. But it was just such an incredible, memorable day that sticks with me to this day. So if you were alive then and you remember it, where were you and what were you thinking? And how has it informed, how you see the world since then? It's a complicated issue in some ways. In some ways, it's not at all. It was a horrible day and horrible acts and just pure evil. But boy, did it uncrack a whole bunch of other things. So, okay, where are we? Well, I guess I kind of skipped the almanac a little bit early, at least focusing on that. But of course, it is known as, I guess they named it Patriot Day in the U.S., observed in the U.S. on September 11th in memory of the thousands who lost their lives as a result of the terrorist attacks in the United States. So I guess that's the name of the day. But what else is going on? Who has a birthday today? Anybody? Let's see. Moby, the musician, 1965. Harry Connick Jr., the musician, 1967. The author D.H. Lawrence's birthday from 1885 on this day, and a few others. So that's a little bit of notable birthdays. As far as events goes, Hawaii's very first theater opened in 1847 on this day, interestingly enough. This is interesting. So on this day, Dr. Charles Hufnagel successfully replaced a diseased aorta valve with an artificial valve made of plastic in 1952 on this day. That's pretty amazing. All right. And of course, we already talked about 9/11. So with all of that said, and not necessarily directly related to the downer of a topic that we discussed in the beginning, but I've been thinking about the topic of writing the end of the story before it's finished. And what I mean by that is, life is full of ups and downs. Businesses have ups and downs. Careers have ups and downs. Relationships have ups and downs. So put it in whatever context you want. I mean, I think of it often in terms of business just because it's just, if you own your own business, you really know the wide array of ups and downs. If you work for a company, you still have plenty of ups and downs. It's just a little bit different. I mean, owning a business, I'd say the variety of problems that you have is much greater. Or I should say the variety of challenges, responsibilities are not necessarily all problems, but it can feel like it sometimes, that's for sure. But what I've noticed with the cycles, when you're going through something where it's a really challenging time, revenue's dried up, or, you made a bad hire, or you spent money on something that turns out to be a complete bust, or whatever, your biggest client is kind of getting waffly on you. All of these, and there's a million other examples. So you can go through, and sometimes these are relatively small, and sometimes they're long and large and protracted, right? In whatever way is meaningful. And if I'm in a state of, upset about it, what I've learned is that I start thinking about, what do I want to be able to say? Not about how it worked out, because the thing is that, who knows how it works out? I mean, sometimes things work out in ways that you just couldn't have even imagined. So what I try to focus on is, what do I want to be able to say about how I behaved in the process of it working out? And sometimes that process is literally as simple as waiting, right? Did I cause more harm while I was waiting? Did I nurture my mindset in a healthy way or a negative way? Did I, overburden other people with it? I mean, there's all kinds of things. So when I'm in the best version of myself, the highest growth mindset that I can be through a difficult period, I'm projecting forward a week, a month, 6 months ahead. And I'm saying, how much pride do I want to have about the way that I handled this whenever this does resolve? And if the answer is I want to have a lot of pride, then go to the next part. Okay, what behaviors will make me more proud than less proud? And to the extent that I follow those behaviors, that I do more of those than the other ones, I tend to end up feeling better about it at the end. And I tend to focus on, what can I do today? So I hope that's helpful to you. What's the story that you want to write about how you handled something? Is there something going on right now that isn't resolved and is bothering you? And you don't know how it's going to work out, but maybe you could know that you did well. All right. So I hope that helps. It's always good checking in with you. Oh, tomorrow's Friday. We're almost there. Hope you're well. In the meantime, be good to yourself and others, and we'll be back tomorrow to check in on Friday. Thanks a lot for listening. Bye-bye for now.